These clips from a live interview of diagnosed narcissists shows how narcissism isn't just a disease anymore. We usually think of narcissism as an individual disorder, a personality problem, a red flag. But what if narcissism isn't the disease anymore? What if it's becoming the adaptation? Because look around. The modern world increasingly rewards emotional performance, artificial status, self-obsession, attention addiction, emotional manipulation, and the ability to turn yourself into a product. For most of human history, identity came from family, community, religious groups, neighbors, long-term relationships. You became someone slowly. It was a process. Now, identity is built through audience feedback, followers, likes, views, virality. The internet transformed personality itself into a marketplace. And in the marketplace, the people who perform best emotionally often win. Some of the most rewarded people in modern society would sound clinically insane in an ideal world. The influencer obsessed with admiration, the alpha coach teaching emotional detachment, the CEO praised for being ruthless and successful and calculative and smart. The lifestyle creator whose entire existence is a carefully managed illusion. We call these people successful, but a therapist might call them symptomatic. Clinical narcissistic personality disorder is real. It's severe, and it affects a small percentage of the population. But this video is not about diagnosing influencers. This video is about something much bigger. It's about a civilization that increasingly rewards narcissistic adaptations. Because modern society no longer rewards authenticity, it rewards performance. And the internet may be creating an entire generation of people who no longer know the difference. Today, we are going to analyze two people diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, Jacob and Tessa. But the terrifying part is this: the more you listen to them, the more modern internet culture starts sounding exactly like them. Jacob treats human interactions like a math equation. Tessa would rather die than feel ordinary. Honestly, modern society rewards both of those mindsets every single day. The internet created a civilization addicted to being perceived. And to understand that, we need to start with Jacob, a man who realized very early in life that emotional detachment wasn't just protection, it was power. Jacob was diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder at 21, but Jacob doesn't think he's broken. He thinks he understands the reality better than everyone else. You put in the correct emotional code, and you get the reaction you want. And once attention becomes proof of existence, people stop trying to become human beings. They start trying to become unforgettable performances. So this video isn't really about narcissists. It's about what happens when an entire civilization slowly begins rewarding narcissistic behavior as a survival strategy. And before you dismiss that as clinical pathology, ask yourself something uncomfortable. How different is that from modern networking culture? Dating apps, social strategy, influence, branding, collaborations, everything we see people do online. Modern life increasingly trains people to become emotionally unreal, to present optimized personalities, curated vulnerability, strategic charm, calculated authenticity, not genuine humanity. And the scariest part, this behavior often works. The modern economy rewards people who can emotionally provoke strangers while remaining emotionally detached themselves. That's why narcissistic traits increasingly look like competitive advantages. Confidence, certainty, self-promotion, emotional vulnerability. These are rewarded online even when they destroy social connections offline. Jacob says something fascinating. He admits he often feels barely like a person because his entire identity changes depending on who he's talking to. And honestly, that might describe modern internet's identity better than we want to admit. The modern worker is no longer just selling labor, they are selling identity. Your personality, aesthetics, opinions, emotions, trauma, lifestyle, and image have all become economic assets. Humans are becoming brands, and brands cannot afford the wrong type of vulnerability. But there's a hidden cost. Jacob admits he feels constantly lonely because when your entire personality becomes performance, nobody actually knows you. They only know the character, and that may be the defining emotional crisis of modern society. While Jacob's narcissism is about power, Tessa's narcissism is about something much darker, the terror of being ordinary. Tessa's stories feels much more familiar to modern internet culture because, unlike Jacob, she doesn't want to dominate people. She wants to fascinate them. Modern society increasingly teaches people that being fascinating matters more than being real. I was asked a simple question. What if you aimed for ordinary? Her response, I would die. And that might be the most revealing statement about modern internet psychology ever spoken. Because social media has quietly trained millions of people to associate ordinariness with worthlessness. You must stand out, perform, optimize, become exceptional, become visible. The algorithm rewards psychological extremity. The ordinary person disappears. Modern people increasingly live inside what I call the attention economy of the self, where your value feels tied to visibility, engagement, desirability, and audience reaction. Tessa admits she keeps a mental list of 5 impressive things about herself to present to people because she fears that once the performance ends, people will realize there's not much underneath. And maybe the darkest part of all this is that social media rewards exactly this behavior. The internet does not reward coherence, it rewards stimulation. Meaning outrage performs, vanity performs, emotional instability performs, controversy goes far, performative trauma performs really well. The internet increasingly rewards people who can emotionally provoke strangers at scale. This is why modern culture feels emotionally exhausting. This is why aesthetic lifestyles exist. And this is why performative vulnerability also exists. The internet rewards identities that generate emotional reaction. And here's the terrifying part. Modern society increasingly treats visibility as proof of value, meaning people no longer ask, am I good? They ask, am I being seen? The self is becoming a product. And the algorithm rewards traits that would look pathological in normal human society. Extreme vanity, emotional instability, aggression. And once identity becomes public competition, people started emotionally mutating to survive it. And yet, this hyper-visible civilization may also be the loneliest civilization in human history. Why? Because visibility is not intimacy, attention is not connection, and admiration is not love. But modern culture increasingly confuses all three. Jacob and Tessa are not just individuals, they are warning signs. Early adopters maybe. Modern society may increasingly require narcissistic adaptation just to psychologically survive online. So what is the real red flag theory here? It's this. The internet created a civilization addicted to being perceived. And once attention became proof of existence, human beings slowly stopped developing stable identities. This is why narcissism increasingly feels culturally normal. Not because everyone has narcissistic personality disorder, but because modern systems increasingly reward narcissistic adaptation. The performance, the branding, the emotional manipulation, the constant visibility, the artificial identity of self. And maybe this is the final paradox. The more connected humanity became digitally, the more emotionally unreal people became psychologically, because human beings cannot genuinely connect through optimized performances, only through imperfection, only through vulnerability, only through the parts of ourselves that algorithms cannot monetize. This is red flag theory. We don't just analyze people, we analyze the systems quietly shaping what people become. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time.